Hi folks, here I am, Tony, pretending to be Commodore Tony. Yeah, that's me. You see, Captain Kangaroo of Sea Shepherd fame, he has a badge and he pretends to be law enforcement. So using that same line of lack of reasoning, I purchased a Navy hat off of eBay so I could pretend to be Commodore Tony. Yeah! Well, a few years ago, Sea Shepherd illegally boarded one of the Japanese ships, and they claimed they did that to deliver a letter to the Japanese. Apparently, they do not understand the concept of the postal system and purchasing a stamp, so they illegally boarded that ship. So since then, Sea Shepherd has been afeared that they would be boarding onto their ship. So look what they did to the side of their ship, where they have some rods sticking out, or spikes, whatever these things are. You see? It's all right for Sea Shepherd to board other people's ships, but you better not board the girly man ship, says they, or that rust bucket. So now recently, one of the crewmen on the Ady Gil that they sunk on purpose by ramming into the Japanese ship, he decided he was going to board the Japanese ship this time. Yeah, says he. He illegally, on the high seas, boards this ship by cutting the net that they had around the ship to prevent a boarding. So now he goes on this ship to hand the captain of that ship a bill for the $3 million for the Batmobile that Sea Shepherd purposely sunk. In addition, you ready for this? Now remember, Sea Shepherd keeps claiming, well, the Japanese are the Japanese are whaling in Australian territory, and that's illegal. Really? So the child boards the Japanese ship. He was going to make a citizen's arrest because under New Zealand law, you're allowed to make citizen's arrests. So he was going to make a citizen's arrest. But then I got a problem here. New Zealand law is applicable in Australian territory. I mean, you say it's Australian territory, so you're in Australian territory to enforce New Zealand law? That's imperialism. It's also stupid. That's imperialism. So the Japanese instead treat this guy, I guess, lightly, instead of making him walk the plank. Sea Shepherd took a video of that child boarding the Japanese ship, and you would see in that video him politely knocking on the door, and they politely open it instead of throwing him overboard. What I've done is I put a link to that video in the description, and you can see how nice the Japanese treat this person instead of throwing him, as he deserves to be, overboard. So now the Japanese, they plan on taking this child back to Japan, I guess, to take a mugshot. Not to mug, says I. And hopefully they're going to charge him with breaking a number of laws that he did break. Once again, the girly man on their rust bucket garbage scow are sailing under a foreign flag, the flag of Norway. That is not a Norwegian vessel. It is not registered in Norway. They break the law, no problem. All right, Japan, this is an appeal or an advice to the nation of Japan. There are a number of nations that are complicit in the Sea Shepherd terrorist activities as they behave as enablers, because they have their ships registered in a number of nations, and there's one particular nation that allows them to use their ports quite frequently. And your government has contacted those governments and asked them to help you in curtailing these activities, and thus far they have not replied positively to you. They basically ignored you, allowing Sea Shepherd to go on its way causing terrorism on the high seas. So I would suggest to you, forget about those governments, in reference to Sea Shepherd. Sea Shepherd Conservation Society, the organization of the girly men, has their charter here in the United States. Now, we do not issue corporate charters from the federal government in Washington, D.C. Individual states issue those charters. They have their charter from the state of Washington, which is on our west coast, the Pacific coast, not the capital, Washington, D.C. I have a link to the Secretary of State for the state of Washington in the description. You may want to contact the Secretary and let him know the terroristic activities taking place by an organization chartered to the state of Washington. I also have a link giving out corporate information as registered with the state of Washington. Another link is where you can purchase Sea Shepherd corporate documents from the state of Washington so you can examine them further. All right? I did your homework for you. Yeah! All right. We'll see you. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the nation you happen to be in. See ya.
We are springing to the far for 300,000 more.